What's up, everybody? Can everybody hear and see me all right? Hello, hello, hello. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a drink. I should have did that before I went live, but one sec. Yo. I'm lower. It's too low. Hold on. Had a cushion in my chair. Trying to decide if I needed it, but I think that's better. What's up? Who's gonna be your main in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? I don't know. I didn't really I didn't really have a lot of intention to play it, but I mean, I guess I should check it out. I don't know. It seems like it has that sort of Budokai style of gameplay, which is not my cup of tea, but I was kind of prejudging it before I played it. But usually I don't pick my characters before I play the game. I pick the characters based on how they feel in the game. So I like playing sort of like mix up rush down type of characters. So whatever characters like that is probably what I would pick. What's up, Jenny, Jonathan, Vanaloven, DK? How y'all doing? DJ Legs. Was he actually a janitor when he made this channel? No, it was a superhero character created in school. That's an old school fan right there. Because I don't think I've explained that in years. I mean, my channel isn't even called the One Janitor anymore, so even people that would know. I mean, I guess my social media is still called the One Janitor. Most of it is, at least, because usually T1J is taken. I don't know why, but either it's taken or it's too short. A lot of sites force you to have more than 3 characters in your username. And sometimes I try T1J underscore, but that's usually taken too. It's like, who's taking these names? I've ever seen Ride the Cyclone. It's a play. And you can find a good slime tutorial? Okay, like I'm missing something. But no. Been hopping in and out since maybe 2017. 2017 was a long time ago. That was 7 years ago. What's up, Jack? I'm doing well. Found you in my brief post-Trump breadtube era. So I guess. Don't want to feel that old though. I mean, it's not about being old, but it is, it's not like that was 1 year ago. That was a long time ago. Does that imply that your breadtube era is over? I think I found this channel from a Dan Brown response video. How's that for old school? See, that's, yeah. I'm not sure what year that was where I collabed with Dan Brown. Oh, what's up, Hassan? Slime tutorials is the euphemism for videos of plays, i.e. bootlegs. Really? I've never heard that. Embrace the old, it's not that bad. I agree, it's not that bad. I mean, if you want, no one should feel old compared to me. Unless you are. I mean, I think I do have fans that are older than me, but most of you are not older than me, I'm guessing. I could be wrong though. My YouTube demographics shows that I think my audience, the average age is around mid-20s to early 30s, which is younger than me. So name a car for an edit. What do you mean? Just say the name of a car? What kind of edit? Oh, my breadtube era is thoroughly over. I love ContraPoints, and the first ones didn't say for the following generation. Word. I don't know if I ever had a breadtube era. A lot of people associated me with breadtube, but I don't know if I watched a lot of breadtube myself. I did, you know, I watched like ContraPoints and people like that, but just because it was good, not because it was, you know, like politically agreeable. Well, I guess there are a couple people in here older than me. I'm almost 40. Recommend some coming of age movies. Some coming of age movies. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. There's like an infinite number of coming of age movies. Stand By Me. That's a coming of age movie, isn't it? any car you want. Corvette? Does that work? I can name some coming of age TV shows like Boy Meets World. Still love ContraPoint, some Three Arrow stuff, or Sean early on, but Lindsay Ellis' story of abuse from the internet was hard to stomach, kept me from going down the hole. I agree with you. I appreciate that, to be honest. I feel like I have somewhat separated myself from that community, even though I still sort of get associated with it here and there. I was just thinking about this recently, about how just people on the internet are wild. Pete and Pete, that's a good example. Yeah, I actually thought about it chapter 1, but it's not, that movie doesn't really mean anything to me personally. I just know that it exists. So I was trying to think of something that I personally liked. The Wood or the Inkwell. The Breakfast Club. That's a coming of age movie, isn't it? I have a question. Are we human or are we dancer? I don't get it. Best film of the past 10 years? I'm definitely not the person to ask because I don't watch movies. I mean, it's a bit of an exaggeration to say that I don't watch movies, but I don't really keep up with movies. I've seen like maybe 3 movies in the past 10 years. Probably more than 3, but less than 10 probably. The best movie that I've seen in the past 10 years? 10 years is a long time though. 2014 was 10 years ago. I'm not even sure what even has come out. But the best movie I've seen in recent memory is Across the Spider-Verse. Movie's fucking amazing. I know you don't make political content anymore, but I just want to say that your video on cancel culture was the first video that made me get out of the right-wing bubble I didn't know I was stuck in. Well, that's amazing. I love that. I like messages like that. Messages like that almost make me want to make political content again, but not quite. Honestly, if I did go back to making political content, I would have a completely different outlook about it now, and I think I would do it differently and probably would do it in a way that was less stressful to me. But I think I'm kind of over that hill at this point. I've come to the conclusion that the internet is not a good place to discuss politics, or at least, well, yeah, I'll just go with that. It's just not a great place to discuss politics. Have you seen? I saw the TV Globe. I have not. House of Mouse should be on Disney Plus. Is it not? I would think that it is, but I guess so. Yeah, it definitely should be. Do you have a favorite Street Fighter 6 player? Punk. I also like Diaphone, but I guess I like him as a content creator more than a player. But I like him because he plays he seems to always play similar characters that I play. Like he plays Kimberly in Street Fighter 6, and I play Kimberly in Street Fighter 6. He plays Eno in Guilty Gear. I play Eno in Guilty Gear. I like those rush down set play type of characters, and he seems to as well. Don't do it. Your old stuff is still there for people who need it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to. It's just not that fun, really. Like, it's good if there's an opportunity to, start interesting, thoughtful conversations that actually make people think more critically and think more compassionately. But at the end of the day, there's a little bit of that and just a lot of yelling and nonsense. Have you been playing any MTG lately? You mean Magic the Gathering? No. Is there any person that you really felt got unrightly canceled? Or do you feel like there's always reason? Yeah, I mean, I think that happens frequently. We were just talking about Lindsay Ellis. That's a pretty big example. It happened at ContraPoints. I mean, the canceled is a weird term because it's like, what does that mean? Is canceled just when people just yell at you a lot, or is canceled mean when you actually like lose your job or get chased off the internet? Jenna Marbles is another good example, but Jenna Marbles sort of left of her own volition. Like, she didn't have to. She could have kept doing what she was doing, but she chose to after receiving criticism. So I don't know, was she canceled or did she like cancel herself? Can you make videos to encourage those sorts of things without using hot topic issues to get your points across? Might be a good middle ground. Well, yeah, in some ways, for sure. I try to do it when I can, if the topic allows for it. But like, for example, the people who say, I've gotten several messages from people who are like, I used to be a big conservative, or I used to be an anti-feminist, and your videos help me think about it in a different way. Those like sort of specific things is hard to really tackle if you're not directly confronting the issues. What video editing software do you use? I use DaVinci Resolve. I recommend DaVinci Resolve to people that are just like getting started with trying to take content creation seriously, because it's free. It's easily the most powerful free software, but even among paid software, it's like one of the best ones. What's up, Autotect? feel like those old Greek parables where the Athenians say the weak suffer what they must to talk about those sorts of issues. I feel like in school, a lot of that, what those stories are for anyway. Yeah, I mean, you can cover the issues, but it's just not what I do on my channel right now. Like lately, I just talk about like TV shows and stuff, which, you know, you're not gonna convert someone from being a Trump supporter by talking about, you know, Seinfeld. and I've come to terms with that. That's okay. Not that I set out to like convert people. It's just that that has been a consequence of the videos that I used to make. But there are other consequences that are less inspiring, I think. What are some topics you'd like to see covered more on YouTube? I'd like to see more on classic animation. Are there not videos about classic animation on YouTube? Seems like there would be. I don't know that I've ever wanted a video about something and not been able to find it on YouTube. I can't really think of an example of that. Like there's a little bit of everything. Obviously not everything is as popular. I guess maybe the question is what things should be more popular. But I don't necessarily need things to be popular as long as it exists. I do wish that more people can make a living doing stuff about these sort of more niche things. I guess that's part of it. There's this channel, like we were talking about fighting games earlier, and I think anyone that's in the fighting game community knows the channel Desk. There's this YouTube channel called Desk, D-E-S-K, and he makes like the most amazing fighting game related videos, and he has maybe about 100,000 subscribers, and it is crazy to me. You should definitely have millions of subscribers. The videos are so good, and I feel like I'm sure he's doing fine. I think it's his full-time job, but it's crazy to me that he doesn't get more views, and I feel bad about it. Like I feel like it's an injustice. So there's stuff like that. And I think I'm assuming his gender. I don't know that it's a he, but I say he. Could be wrong. Because it's like a faceless channel. Just went to my first Comic-Con. Do you like comic conventions? Yeah, I don't really go to them that often, but I've had fun every time I went to one. Was your rank in SF6? I haven't played in a while, but I was Diamond the last I played. I need to get back on there because I feel like I could get master rank if I really tried. How long have you been on the internet? Do you remember how the internet was before social media? If so, what do you miss the most about that time? You're trying to make me feel old. I do remember the internet before social media. It was better. I'll tell you that. It was better. The internet used to be good, guys. I don't know if you believe it. It used to actually be good. And it's a little bit weird to talk about, but the internet used to be better before content creators, and that's a bit weird to say as a content creator. But before everyone was trying to make money on everything, it was a lot cooler. I kind of miss when the internet was more about like websites and like, you know, there still are like a lot of really cool websites, but people don't talk about them or share them anymore. Back then it was all about websites. Like you'd go to a website that was cool and you just visit the website because it was cool. You know, like fucking like, what are some of the old cool websites that were popular? Like askaninja.com and wombo.com and just all those like cool and strange websites from back in the day. And like chat rooms, we used to go to chat rooms. Chat rooms and forums were kind of like the precursors to social media, and I think those things both exist still, but social media is kind of where everyone hangs out now. And it's interesting because social media was cool when it first came out. They called them it was called social networking before it was called social media. I remember when Facebook first came out, because it used to be, when it first came out, it was only for college students, and I was in college when it came out. And I remember I had a friend, like I was at the University of Alabama and my friend was at Vanderbilt, and her school had Facebook and we didn't. And I remember being jealous that we didn't have it. It's like, man, I want to get on the cool new thing, Facebook. But now I think the internet peaked at some point. I don't want to name a direct year, but I think the internet is like, I think the internet had a good run, and the internet is obviously still a good tool, and I'm glad it exists, but it's not cool anymore, for sure. Or at least there is as much negative about the internet as there is good now. I think it used to be more good than bad, but now it's equal, if not more bad. But the internet is responsible for my current career, so I can't be too hard on it. Thoughts on horror games? Favorite horror games, if you have any? I don't play a whole lot of horror games. I don't know, man. Horror games are intense, especially the really intense ones. But I mean, I can appreciate a good game. Resident Evil 7 is like a work of art. But like I can deal with a horror movie, but I think in a horror game it's more intense because it's happening to you directly, and sometimes I just can't deal with it. I don't know if that sounds wimpy or whatever, but that's just how it is. Top 5 favorite horror movies. As I said before, I don't watch a whole lot of movies, but I would say I can think of 3 off the top. The Shining, It Follows, and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre are definitely in my top 5. Outside of that, I don't know. But I'll just go with that for our top 3. Homestar Runner, Home is Emo, Newgrounds. Yeah, see, those were the glory days of the internet, in my opinion. Brody, thank you for the $2. I gotta go, but that horror game response is valid. I appreciate that. Thank you for the 2. If you could read one of your favorite books for the first time again, what would it be? Maybe A Wrinkle in Time. MySpace better than Twitter? Definitely now. Yeah, probably. Twitter is trash now, but maybe I'm trying to think of like the peak of Twitter, when Twitter was cool. I think when Twitter was cool, it was really cool. Like, it was very hip. But so was MySpace, to be honest. But I kind of appreciate the sort of minimalism of Twitter, of early Twitter. While MySpace, there was just a whole lot going on. It was just, that was sort of like the early 2000s aesthetic, where it was just clutter and chaos on every website. Everyone picks 2014 for some reason. I always hear people say 2014 as the year. Honestly, though, I think 2014 is a decent year, because right after that is when politics started getting super divisive on the internet. Like, I'm pretty sure, didn't Gamergate start in 2014 or like right after that? So I think that maybe was a turning point for the internet. Am I single? Yes. I remember when Twitter launched and no one knew what to do with it. Yeah. I was one of those people. I think if you search my first post on Twitter was something like, what is this site? What am I supposed to do? Because it just seemed like you were limited in how much you could say. So the only things you could say is just like, I had eggs and bacon for breakfast today. But it turns out that sort of casual micro blogging, as they said, was pretty cool. And it allowed you to sort of hear about what other people were going on in a very concise way. And also, for some reason, Twitter was became very popular among celebrities. I'm not sure why that happened. But that also made Twitter very cool, because it was like, I get to see what fucking Beyonce had for breakfast today. That's cool. Do you identify as a nerd fighter? Yeah, I guess. I've always thought that the term nerd fighter was cringe, but insofar as I'm a fan of John and Hank Green and a part of their community, then yes. And I've also had issues with their community in the past, but I think it's kind of grown up over the years and it's fine now. But back in the day, the nerd fighter community was kind of very like elitist and purity testing kind of community. But I don't think they really do that anymore, so it's fine. I mostly remember MySpace band pages. I think I was a little too young, had MySpace for like a week and basically went straight to Facebook. Yeah, possibly. I mean, music and bands were a big part of it as well. There was a big, the sort of like emo pop punk scene was very big on MySpace. Is it just politics though? Because I hear it in a non-political context. Possibly. I do think politics kind of affected a lot of different areas, even indirectly. I remember how easy piracy was. Oh yeah, that was my hustle in high school, was making mix CDs for people, because none of my friends knew how to use like Kazaa and all that stuff, LimeWire and all that. So I would make people mix CDs and sell them for like $3. That was my high school side hustle, or main hustle, as I didn't have a job. Well, I did have a job, like a summer job, but yeah. I think that was another aspect of why Twitter became popular, the direct access to celebs. Yeah, that's got to be part of it for sure. But there does seem to be a wider cultural feeling for that year, and it's just fascinating to me how that organically developed. Yeah. But again, it's hard. A lot of that just runs together in my head. I'm not sure what happened when. Where do you see social media 10 years from now? It honestly depends on what the people who run these platforms decide to do. Because, you know, what I expect these corporations to do is to do whatever makes them the most money, and if they do that, then it's just going to get worse and worse, because it has been shown that what makes the most money is low effort, outrage bait, basically low effort content that sparks strong emotions, which is always going to result in just terrible content that's bad for the world, and also low effort, unoriginal, creatively bankrupt content. So if they continue to encourage that, that's what will get made. So it's going to be up to them. They don't have to do that. I've been on Threads lately. I actually like Threads, but I'm starting to see that. Well, see, I like the thing I like about Threads is it doesn't seem to reward negative content. However, it does reward low effort, engagement bait type of content, and the site has gotten a little worse over time. So we'll see if it gets any better. But I see a lot less of the sort of just extreme hateful nonsense on Threads that I do on sites like Twitter. So that may be a good sign, but we'll see what happens. I also don't think that Threads is monetized right now, so, and that probably is not going to always be true. They're probably going to try to make money off of it at some point. So unless they just use Instagram to subsidize Threads, but I doubt they'll do that. What's been your favorite project to work on so far? You mean like my favorite video? Because I think my channel is sort of like one big project, but then each video is also its individual project. I've been having a lot of fun with these sort of sitcom retrospectives I've been doing lately, but I'm trying to figure out some stuff. Like, I'm trying to grow the channel, So I'm trying to figure out like some stuff that can really appeal to a wide audience and not just people who happen to like the shows that I talk about. But I don't know, it's hard to say what my favorite is. My sort of cop-out answer is that my favorite project or my favorite video is just the most recent one that I'm working on. Just because it's new, it's new to me, so it's more exciting. Can social media really get any worse, or are we only just getting started? It can definitely get worse. I'm an astronomy fan. Is the universe infinite? I don't know. My understanding is that it's debatable. I think that there are some smart people who think that it is, and there are some smart people who think that it isn't. But I'm pretty sure that the widely accepted model is that the universe is expanding, and that it will continue to expand infinitely or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. That there are people who, you know, devote their entire lives to studying that stuff, and I'm not one of those people. Seen any good movies lately? I just watched Civil War, the political horror movie. Nope. The last movie I saw in theaters was Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was decent. Are you following Penguin or Agatha all along, or the DC/Marvel TV universe? I watched the first 2 episodes of Agatha all along. I gotta keep up with that. I will keep up with that. I mean, I have not seen Penguin. I probably will catch it at some point. I'm less invested in the DC universe than I am in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I would like to watch it at some point. But I definitely will finish Agatha, and I also have to finish Echo. I haven't finished that, but I'm very invested in Marvel. I need to know everything that's going on in the MCU. Best book I've ever read. I only recently became more of a reader, so I'm not really the best to ask about books, but I even I'll go back to A Wrinkle in Time. That's definitely one of my A Wrinkle in Time or 1984 are probably my favorite fiction books. My favorite nonfiction book is probably Atomic Habits. It's just a sort of a personal development book, but I think it is like a must read for all humans, at least any humans that would like to learn how to develop good habits. Did I play Baldur's Gate 3? I did play a bit of it, not a whole lot, but I played a bit of it. We need more Friends videos. Love the Chandler video that you did. Maybe so. I mean, I had fun making that video. As of right now, I didn't really get that many views, but I have my theories about why that happened. But I think it's a good video. Everyone should check it out. Current favorite wrestler. Current favorite wrestler? Who's my current favorite? I like what a lot of people are doing. I actually like what Roman Reigns is doing a lot. which is kind of a cringe answer because he's like the top guy, but he's doing really well. I really like what Liv Morgan and Dom are doing. A lot of my like favorites are not in the spotlight right now. Like I love Becky Lynch, but she's not really doing much right now in this very moment. But I feel like Becky Lynch is like the best women wrestler in WWE right now. And yeah, I don't know. I like what a lot of people are doing right now. Chad Gable's good. MCU had me through Endgame, then I was just done and burnt out. I mean, that's fair. Endgame was a good stopping point for anyone that wasn't didn't have the sort of capacity to start a whole another 20-year arc. But I say this all the time. I think the I am the target audience for the MCU. Like, I grew up obsessed with comics and superheroes. I used to collect comic books, particularly Marvel comic books. I watched all the cartoons and movies, and I even loved all of the sort of prior superhero movies, most of which weren't that good. But I still love them because they brought my favorite superheroes to life. And then when we started getting like actually good superhero movies, I was like, we have arrived. I'm here. So I doubt that I'll ever get sick of MCU movies unless they just get real bad. Because that's one of the reasons why I'm less invested in the DC universe, because the movies are not good for the most part. Some of them are okay. I don't think they've made a real banger yet. They've made some okay ones. But MCU has made a lot of great movies in my opinion. So if they just really drop the ball and just start dropping stinker after stinker, then I might drop out. But if they keep making decent movies, I will probably always be a fan, because I love superheroes and I love seeing superheroes fly around and shoot magic at each other and tell cool stories along the way. What do you enjoy doing in your free time outside of YouTube? I play a lot of D&D. I like watching college football. I play chess. I play some video games, not a lot. I'm not like a hardcore gamer, but there are a couple that I like. Those are the main things, I guess. And just hanging out with friends. I like to hang out with friends and be social and stuff like that when I can. Books are books are amazing. This one of my regrets is not realizing until like my late 30s that books are amazing. Books are super tight. I've become a very strong advocate for books, which anyone who has known me would find that crazy, because I've never been much of a reader until quite recently. It's like you get a whole, it's like, like if you watch a movie and the movie's good and you're like, man, I wish I knew more about these characters, and I wish I knew more about their world, and I wish I knew what happened in between the part that they didn't show us. You get all that in a book, And then in the case of like nonfiction, you can, like, if you want to learn anything, you can buy a book, and it's like the equivalent of taking a full class on that subject. It's crazy. Books are wild. Kyle, thank you for the 5. No question, just stopping by to say that I love your shit. Looking forward to the next video. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Next video should be coming out. Well, I can't give a date, but give it like a couple weeks. Hopefully before the month is over. That's something I'm working on, is putting out videos more frequently, but we'll get there. I was literally about to call A Wrinkle in Time 1984 for kids. Is it that? I guess in some ways. Are you in community with many other YouTubers? I missed the old video collab style. Is that genre perma-dead? Is that genre dead? Like collabs? Absolutely not. People collab all the time. I communicate with YouTubers here and there. I don't know, there's a lot of things, like for one thing, a lot of the people that I would normally collab with are people who don't make similar content to me anymore, since I've switched my content up. Like if I was still making politics videos, you'd probably see me collab with the politics creators more often. But in other genres, there's a lot of collaboration. That still happens for sure. I think someone mentioned Magic the Gathering earlier. I don't really play card games anymore. I mean, every now and then I will, but I watch certain creators, and they have this like nice little community that collabs with each other all the time. And the Magic the Gathering players the Magic the Gathering creators will collab with the Yu-Gi-Oh creators, who will collab with the Hearthstone creators, and they all kind of collab together. It's really cool. And it like introduces you to other games that you may not play. Like I've been mainly of those games, I've played Hearthstone the most, but I learned a little bit about Yu-Gi-Oh from the collabs that they do with other players, so it's cool. What's up, Andrew? How are you tonight? I'm doing well. Pretty chill day so far. My friends went to a Raw tonight. It looked like a business as usual Raw. It's not worth seeing a WWE show live unless it's a PPV. I disagree. I think going to a WWE live show is always fun. It doesn't need to be like the craziest episode, but just going to see people do stunts in a ring is fun, regardless of like if it's a important episode or not. So I think I have to disagree with that. Although I feel kind of bad because I skipped the last time WWE came to my city, and it happened to be the episode where The Rock returned, which was like, wow, I missed The Rock. Cool. So I'm never skipping that shit again. I'm playing Marvel Snap as we speak. I'm a Marvel head too. Yeah, Marvel Snap's really fun. Have I talked much about X-Men 97? You know what? I haven't checked out X-Men 97 yet. I'm not even sure why, because I know I would love it. It's just, there's so many things I have to watch. It's just like kind of overwhelming. I was young when the first Iron Man movie came out. It doesn't compare to the Lord of the Rings trilogy for me, but it was good. You know, I've never seen any of the Lord of the Rings. But Iron Man kind of just kicked off everything. I think Iron Man was a solid movie, but I think it was only a taste of what we were going to get in the MCU. I think, to me, the first really good MCU movie was Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they made a string of okay ones, and then Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and I was like, oh, this is actually a really, really good movie. Like, even outside of the context of superheroes and shit, it's like, I love this movie. And then since then, I think they've dropped a few others that are like in that same category. Like, I think Captain America: Winter Soldier is amazing. Loki as a series is amazing. Black Panther, I think, was amazing. So I think Iron Man was just kind of like, let's get this ball rolling, but just wait till you see what we got in store. I only go to IMAX movies. I hope to go to the Sphere in Las Vegas. I don't know if I like IMAX. It's too big. It's like gives me a headache. It's like what is? It's too much going on. Do I watch a lot of D&D YouTube content? If so, any favorite creators? I don't know if I watch a lot. I'm trying to catch up with Critical Role. I'm like a year behind. There are a few channels that like I like XP to Level 3. That's a good channel. Dungeon Dudes is a good channel. But yeah, I mean, I like to watch like actual play content. I don't necessarily like to watch content about D&D because it's like a lot of times it's like people like telling me how to play D&D, which is like the whole point of D&D is you get to make it up. Like, I don't need you to tell me how to play. But every now and then, you know, I will look up something. Like, for example, I'm running Curse of Strahd right now. And so I will look up like advice about how to run Curse of Strahd, things like that. Also, I love Dimension 20, but that's not, I mean, I guess it is on YouTube, but mostly I watch it on Dropout. As for D&D related content, that's probably the thing that I watch the most is Dimension 20. What am I reading? I am currently reading a book. It's called Mindset. It's just a book about how to have it. Well, it's the premise of the book is that there are two types of mindsets, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And the book argues that having a growth mindset is better than having a fixed mindset. I've been reading a lot. Like, this year has been my sort of like glow up personal development year. So all the books I've been reading are things that will like make me a better human being. So that's kind of where I'm at these days. Would I ever write a book? I actually did write a book. I wrote a book. I wrote a book for small YouTube creators. Basically advice for small YouTube creators about how to grow their channels. So if that's interesting to you, let me know and I will link it to you. Because I don't know, I like go on Reddit a lot and like people ask me for advice about YouTube. And I realized that there was like a lot of people that just kind of had no idea. They felt kind of just really lost about what to do on YouTube. And I identify with that feeling because I felt like that at some point where I just felt like everything just felt like a toss up and everything felt like luck. And it just seemed like it was just a roll of the dice whether your channel would succeed. But I don't feel that way anymore. And so I decided, instead of just like giving the same advice to people over and over again, which I'm okay with doing, what if I put in a book and just give people sort of the basic ideas just to get people started? Because I do think that, like, I don't think that YouTube is luck. I used to think it was luck, but I no longer think that. I think it's mostly skill and mostly knowledge. What's my favorite science fiction book? I haven't read a lot of science fiction books, but I'll say once again, A Wrinkle in Time. But yeah, I don't know. I have not read a lot of genre fiction, fantasy, science fiction. I think you guys should give me suggestions about that because I've not read a lot about it. Have I seen the new Vince McMahon doc? I have not. I have seen some Dark Side of the Rings though. Those are usually pretty interesting. Your content is one of those situations where it's so good that I think most people aren't worried about how often it happens, quality of quantity. I appreciate that. But it would just be better for my career if I uploaded more frequently. Now that you mention it, collabs are still live. MTJ is a great example. Yeah. That just came to mind because I just watched a collab between a Hearthstone and a Yu-Gi-Oh creator, but they also collabed with the MTG creator. How long have you been growing your hair? I keep mine short because it's hard to keep it long. How long have I been growing my hair? Probably like 13 years. Long time. It's kind of too long. It's like long enough to where it's annoying, but I think it looks cool, so I deal with it. Hey T1J, do you remember way back when I made you that Draw My Life video? Oh, was that you? I do remember that video. That was cool, because I don't think I expected anyone to do that. Because I remember I made it, it was going to be too much work for me to do it myself, so I just talked about my life instead of drew it, and then someone else drew it, which was you. So that was cool. I need to watch that video again. I would like to see how I describe my life at that point, because it definitely would be different if I did it now. I wasn't really into Lord of the Rings that much, but I did warm to the movies once I started watching them as sort of buddies on a journey film. The idea of watching the Lord of the Rings movies sounds labor intensive. That's one of the reasons why I haven't done it. But I would probably like it because I like D&D, and that's very D&D adjacent. Or I should say D&D is Lord of the Rings adjacent, since I'm pretty sure D&D is just a ripoff of Lord of the Rings, or just a ripoff of Tolkien. Which superhero would I quarantine with? I don't know. I don't know, like, what would the criteria be? The one that's the best company, or the one that's the most helpful to you? In Avengers Endgame, Nebula and Tony Stark were essentially in quarantine together, and they seemed to get along. How do I shoot my shot with you? I don't know. I guess we'd have to meet. I agree, read books. It turns out I can read way more than I thought I could. Genuine surprise. Thing with reading, I think a lot of people don't read because it's time consuming, and people say that they don't have time to read. But saying you don't have time is like the wackest excuse for anything. That is, at least I'll apply that to myself. it is conceivable that someone literally doesn't have time. But the thing that I had to do in order to start reading is to literally force myself to do it. And that's just a thing in life in general. This is sort of like a mini life lesson. I've talked about this on stream a lot, but you know, life is just about what you prioritize, and like if you want to do something, you just have to do it. So I just literally, you know, told myself that I was going to read. Like I specifically set time aside to read. I didn't wait till I felt like reading. I just set time aside to read, and then just did it during that allotted time, whether I felt like it or not. And that's just a good life lesson, is don't wait till you feel like doing stuff to do it, because you're never gonna feel like it. So I think that's a good thing to keep in mind. But yeah, that was the only way. And if you do that, you can read as much as you allot, you know. I started out by just reading 15 minutes a day before bed, and I eventually upgraded to 30 minutes, and now I literally read not every day, but about roughly every other day I read for like a full hour, just because I told myself that that's what I was gonna do. Thinking about Iron Man before Iron Man 1 movie is crazy. Yeah, that movie did a lot for the perception of Iron Man. I never was an Iron Man fan before the MCU. I always thought that character was pretty lame. I will say though, I was a Captain America fan. I was a huge Black Panther fan, and I like that Black Panther I cannot speak right now. I like that Black Panther has sort of come up and that people appreciate the character now, because I've always thought that Black Panther was a super underrated character. Another one is Daredevil. I always loved Daredevil, but everyone thought that Daredevil was lame back in the day. But people appreciate Daredevil now because of the Daredevil show and the various appearances of the character. So. Oh shit, I'm running Curse of Strahd at the moment. Hope it's going well. Awesome. We're pretty much at the end of our campaign right now. It was very fun. I think it's been my favorite campaign to run. Am I crazy, or did you have a video ranking Black sitcom intro songs? I didn't do that. I made a video not too long ago about ranking TGIF intro songs, but I never did one about Black sitcoms specifically. I just had to think to make sure I'm not tripping, but yeah, I don't think I did that. Are us millennials all on our own self-improvement journeys, or is it just a thing of being in your 30s? It's probably a little bit of, you know, getting older. I think when you hit your 30s and later, you kind of make a decision as like, I've sort of set a trajectory for my life. Is this where I want to be? When you're younger, you kind of feel like, you know, the world is your oyster and you can do everything. But when you get older, you kind of realize, oh shit, if I don't change, like this is just what my life is going to be. So you have to realize, you have to think like if you're cool with that or if you need to make some changes. And I don't know, I think also, at least for me, I think a lot of millennials, we kind of grew up with this idea. I think a lot of millennials went on this sort of emotional journey as they grew up, because I think our generation was told by our parents, like, you can be anything. You're so special. You can do whatever you want in life. I feel like that was common for our generation. But then we got a little bit older and realized that wasn't actually true. You can't do whatever you want, especially with the way that the world has become. In fact, there are a lot of obstacles to doing the things that you want. And in fact, some people are just born in a better circumstance. And I think a lot of millennials became very aware of that and just became very indignant about that, and very sort of, I don't know, like, I guess indignant is the word. I think a lot of millennials were just kind of bitter about that. And then you get sort of over that hump and you realize, well, am I just going to complain about it, or am I going to try to do something about it? And I think some people get to that point where it's like, it's no use in just sitting around complaining. Let me actually try to make something of my life. I don't think everybody gets to that point. I think some people just keep complaining until they die, but I think a lot of us have gotten to that point. The Murderbot Diaries. I'll write it down. Whenever I hear about a self-development book, I always think of some PUA selling some scam courses, to be honest. I know not all self-help content is like that, though. I mean, yeah, I think you have to have some discretion. But I think you just have to just think critically about what you read. Just because, I mean, I've read some books and some of them were better than others. Some of them are not great. Some of them are okay. Some of them are great. So you just think critically. And I think one of the reasons that I never was a reader is because it just felt like such a time commitment. And I was like, well, what if I don't like it? What if I pick up a book and then I don't like it and I just wasted my time? And then I realized, if you don't like it, you can stop reading it. So yeah, if I pick up a book and I think this seems scammy, I just stop reading it and read something else. But I do think that self-help has gotten kind of a bad rap due to some of the more scammy books out there. But I can tell you that there are a lot of really great personal development books out there. A lot of great, like, evidence-based books. Do I appreciate having a time capsule of my past self? Yeah, I guess that's kind of cool. I don't really look at it that much. I don't look at, like, the super old videos that much, but it's cool to know that it's there. Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite what? Sorry, I'm a little behind on the comments. Same as building a gym habit. Yeah, it applies to so many things in life. You cannot wait until you feel like it. Don't out me, audiobooks is reading. Audiobooks is perfectly valid, a perfectly valid form of consuming books. If you had one... Oh, sorry, I just saw your comment. I love your videos. Keep up the hard work. Love from Houston. I appreciate that, Reggie. If you had won the lottery for $1 billion, would you feel a sense of responsibility to make a difference politically or culturally in some way? I don't know if I would feel a responsibility to make a difference specifically, but I would feel a responsibility to use that money to help the community, for sure. Or to help the world, absolutely. Sci-fi suggestion, The Left Hand of Darkness. I think I've heard of that. Like I said, this year has been my sort of personal development year, but I think next year I might get into more fiction, so. You should read Game of Thrones, or if you want a spicy one, read Rant. It's made by the same guy that made Fight. Is a fake documentary in a book from different perspectives. Super weird but interesting. rant. '30s feels like I've still got a fair amount of time. It's worth investing in myself. Plus, a decade as an adult has made me appreciate the payoff of doing something for years. I could see that. I don't think, like, at least for me, when I hit 30, I realized that I had not really invested in myself at all. So I didn't really get to see much payoff. But that is part of what influenced me to start trying. Oh, that made Fight Club. Okay. My players are just about to head to Argenvosshold, and then it'll be dinner with Strahd. Awesome. The dinner with Strahd was probably my favorite part so far of the whole campaign. Argenvosshold is really cool too, though. Reading requires intention. You set the pace, even if the pace is 0. With audiobooks, you're just going along with the ride, whether you're ready or not. There's a lot of room for passivity. Yeah, I agree with that, but for some, audiobooks is just the most convenient way to consume books, so I cannot hate on it. Mary Shelley is the original science fiction author. Andy Weir is good for modern science fiction. Word. All this self-help talk is getting me to clean up and clean my apartment. Whatever it takes. I think some people are good at motivating themselves to be productive. I am not one of those people. And I imagine that a lot of people have trouble with that because otherwise everyone would just be productive all the time. So I literally also I don't want to I don't like self-diagnosis, but I'm like 90% sure that I have ADHD. I should probably go ask a professional about that. But I have to like essentially babysit myself and make sure that I do the shit that I have to do, and I have to like I basically have to like trick myself into being productive. Otherwise, I won't do anything. Have you solved a Rubik's Cube? There are good instructions on how to do it. That's funny. I literally have a Rubik's Cube like right in front of me, and I do know how to solve it. That's one of my party tricks is I can solve a Rubik's Cube. I'll do it real quick. I used to be able to do it pretty fast, but I'm out of practice. But I never was like super fast, but I think I could do sub 1 minute. I could do about sub 1 minute, literally like 50 seconds or something. I like the Rubik's Cube because no matter how many times you solve it, it's always satisfying. It's like magic. Almost there. There it is. when you listen to music, could you ever tell the difference between an MP3 and a FLAC file? I mean, I don't know. I never tried. Probably not. I wasn't great about that either. I think I was seeing the different directions in my peers' lives that kicked me in the ass a bit. Yeah, I kind of had that too. If you have dinner with Strad tips, would love to hear them. So are you doing it like as written in the book? Or are you doing like the common suggestion where they do the dinner and then they like get to explore the castle after? Because it's different after. Like in the book, and hopefully no one like intends to like play this campaign because it's kind of spoilery. But in the book, they go to dinner and then they get trapped in the castle. But a lot of people online suggest that you don't do that. Do you watch shows with CC enabled? I do, and it's changed my life. I do, actually. I'm not exactly sure why. It just feels right. And I have like some friends that don't, and it always feels, it's like, why turn the captions on, bro? What are you doing? I've never met another person that read Rant. Making connections. Got diagnosed ADD in the past 2 years. A pretty big viewpoint shift when looking at my life up to that point. Yeah, I should like I should go get that. Talk to someone about that, because I have all of the symptoms, and it makes sense for a lot of the problems I've had in life, but I don't really like to self-diagnose. I think that can be dangerous, so I don't want to like go too ham on that. But yeah, awesome that you do the Rubik's Cube. Yeah, I think the Rubik's Cube is like the perfect. It's like the perfect toy for someone like me, because it is something that seems impossible to do. However, it's not that hard to learn how to do it. And then once you learn it, you pretty much don't forget how to do it. I mean, I suppose you could forget if you don't practice enough. So it's like the ultimate like microcosm of going from like complete ignorance to mastery. And I won't say mastery, because there are obviously people that are way better at it than me, but it's a really cool way of showing yourself that you can learn something. Dude immediately gets hyperfixated on the Rubik's Cube. Yeah, I'm not gonna start it and not finish it. That's just that would bother me all day. Until that would like literally bother me until the stream ended. Just want to say thank you. Have a good night. You're welcome. Thanks for what? Not fast enough? Now do it blindfolded. I don't know how to do that. I'll say that. I can't do that. I have to look at it. But apparently learning how to do it blindfolded is not that hard either. I mean, I'm sure it's challenging, but I think that I've read how to do it, and I kind of get how one could do that, but I am not invested enough to put in the effort to do that, to learn how to do that. I mean, I guess it depends on the method that you use to solve the cube. But the method I use, I have to like memorize certain patterns, and it's just like based on what I see on the cube, I have to do different stuff. But I think there are methods where you can probably do the same thing every time. Do you know your Myers-Briggs personality type? I'm INFP the quester. I think last time I did the test, I was ENFT. But sometimes I get different stuff. Like I've gotten ENTP before. I get ENTP and ENFP. Is the last one PT or J? There's a J in there somewhere, right? Okay, so the last one can be a P or a J, right? Perceiving or judging. So I think I always get P, but I'm like somewhere in between F and T. So ENFP or ENTP. That's what I usually get. I was saying the exact same things until I got diagnosed. It took a couple years of my family and a professional leaning into me until I finally conceded. I'm not sure why it was like that though. Yeah, I'm sure it's a common story. I don't really have anything like pressing me to do it because I've kind of like organized my life in a way that works for me, but I'm sure it would be useful. Every time I solve a cube, I feel alive. Yeah, it's literally satisfying every single time. I've done it, I guess, thousands of times by now, and it never gets old. If one of your friends came out as a born-again Christian or any religion for that matter, how would you know if it's a red flag or not? My red flag for anything is if you're driven by compassion for other humans or not. So I think that one can be religious and driven by compassion for humans, and I think that one can be religious and not driven by compassion for humans. And that goes for almost anything. Like if you join a political group, or if you start identifying with a political label, or if you join a subculture or a fandom or anything, I always look to see, is this person driven by compassion for other people? And that's usually my go-to red flag, because it's usually pretty obvious which one it is. I want to get faster. I just got to put in the reps. Yeah, I think I spent a little bit of time trying to get faster, but at this point, I'm just satisfied with knowing how to do it. That's usually impressive to people, and I'm satisfied with that. Maybe one day I'll try to get faster, but yeah, I'm not trying to break any records. What's your favorite ethnicity of food? Ethnicity of food. That's kind of a weird way to phrase it, but I like Chinese food a lot. Of the ethnicities of food, that's probably my favorite. Or just like Asian food in general is just good. I guess you can't group all Asian food together, but there's obviously like similarities there. I'm a campaigner. I don't remember what mine's called. Campaigner might be one of them. ENTP is the debater and ENFP is the campaigner. Yeah. So those are the two that I usually get. I think I probably identify more with the campaigner than the debater. What's up, Rabbit Dude? Life's going pretty well. 90s sitcom dad power ranking. 90s sitcom dad. There's There's some strong candidates there. Got Uncle Phil, he's got to be top tier, right? I think Alan Matthews from Boy Meets World is top tier. Carl Winslow's probably a little bit under top tier, probably like A, B tier. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I'm thinking of like the family shows, but there's other ones. There's like Al Bundy. Al Bundy's probably A tier. Biscuit, I first read that as what's your favorite ethnicity? You got a job? Well done. What kind of job? Uncle Phil? Yeah, Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince. Definitely a top tier dad. Very good combination of being hilarious and also a good dad. Have I seen any Exit American expat content on YouTube? A good amount of Americans are moving abroad for a better life thanks to making money online now. I've not seen that, but I would like to see that because that's kind of like my fantasy. I have this, I already know the content. Like, I've already got the title and thumbnail for the video for when I move out of America. The title's gonna be, they said if you don't like it, then leave, so I did. When you're a content creator, you just think about everything in terms of content. It's like, can I make content out of this? But that's not in my near future. I'm not there yet. I miss Mad TV. Mad TV was pretty good. I don't know if I would like it as much now as I did when I was younger, but it definitely was a moment in time. I'd rather not say what kind of job. That's fair. I'm leaving for Portugal in a couple weeks. I would like to just travel more. I haven't really had an opportunity to travel outside the country. I would like to do that. If Trump wins, I'm gonna have to find a new country. Well, I mean, that's the beauty of this country, though, is people cannot, you know, there are term limits. So it's not like he'd be the president forever, as much as he would hate that. To me, it's not even like what's scarier to me is not the prospect of Trump being the president. It's just the fact that so many people want him to be the president, and those people aren't gonna go away when he stops. You know, when he's not the president. You know. There's people who move out of the U.S. because it's too far right, and there's the people who move out because it's too far left. And both make YouTube videos. I could see that. That makes me like less interested, because to me it's not even about whether it's too right or too left. That's not the problem. I think the problem is just the lack of progress in a lot of key areas. And I think that the Republicans and Democrats are both at fault in various ways. I think the right is worse, but there's things that the Democrats could have done that they have not done. And also there's just a lot of racism. But the thing is, I don't know if there's less racism in other countries. I've been trying to research this, and I feel like it's not much better anywhere else. So that might just be a characteristic of humans, is that they just don't like people who are different than them. Do you like Bray Wyatt? Yeah, I loved Bray Wyatt. He was like one of the most creative and cool dudes that they had. I've binged all your videos on shows, so love you for that. Awesome. My question for you is burger or hot dog? Burger for sure. 1000% burger. I can't believe so many people are Trumpies. It's hard to believe if you like in a sort of general sense, but when you just think about how many, and I hesitate to say it because I don't want to sound like I'm smarter than other people or whatever, but scammers and crooks and con artists and demagogues have been using their charisma to gather the support of humans probably since humans have been around. It's not a new thing. I saw some EU results from annual surveys of racial religious attitudes. Barometer, I guess, or was the name of the project, and yeah, the results weren't too nice. I heard in Europe the racism is more in your face but less systematically, like in the US. That's not my lane to speak of, though. Yeah, I mean that's kind of my understanding. Like they don't have racism that's like as baked into their institutions, but I think individual implied bias, implicit bias can still lead to systemic problems. Like if I go to Sweden and the judges in Sweden don't trust me because I'm black, that's still bad for me in a deep way, you know? But another big problem in the U.S. is the gun culture and the fact that, someone can go shoot up a school and the politicians do nothing about it. Or even beyond that, just like the massive amount of gun violence and suicide by gun and accidental deaths by gun. We literally had a mass shooting in my city, like right in the part of town where I used to hang out all the time. That kind of stuff is like makes it very scary to live in America, and that's one thing that other countries do better than we do. So that's another big thing for me. I also imagine that other countries' governments are not as corrupt as ours is. But it probably, I mean, it depends on the country for sure. Like, obviously there are some countries with corrupt governments, but usually, I think for the most part, other developed countries don't have their whole country, their whole government controlled by billionaires and corporations. At least not to the same extent as America. So those are kind of the main problems with America that I think other countries do better. A maxim I've adopted have been things are rarely better or worse. Mostly they're just different. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. Like I said, I think there are things that other countries definitely do better than America. Like universal healthcare, for example. Universal healthcare is better than not universal healthcare, in my opinion. I think it's just better, just flat out better. Obviously it's not perfect probably, and there's different ways you can do it, but more people having access to healthcare at a low cost is better than them not having it, you know? So sometimes things are better. If you were forced to eat any food forever, what would it be? I don't know, that's hard because it depends on what the parameters of this hypothetical are. If food still had the same effect on you as it always did, then I would have to pick something healthy. So then I have to think of something healthy that I like enough to eat forever. So like, can it be like, do we mean like an addition, like an individual food or a dish? Maybe like a Caesar salad. If the hypothetical allowed me to eat whatever I want without any negative health benefits, then probably chicken fingers. The most dangerous European cities are ranked like 20th most dangerous city in the US. Is it 20th? I would think it would be even lower than that. What's your favorite really old YouTube video, like 2010 or earlier? I don't know. I might have to look at my favorite, my favorites on YouTube. Hold on, I have a playlist of my favorite YouTube videos. Let's see if there's any old ones in there. (2010) Was this pre-2010? I'm looking at my playlist. I have Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. You remember that? But that came out in 2010. but that's one of my favorite videos. There are probably some old Vlogbrothers videos that are up there. Probably some old Captain Disillusion videos. "2010, that's rough. That was a long time ago. I can't even remember what videos." Make sure it has vitamin C. I was gonna say a fruit, like I really like grapes, but I don't know if I could just eat grapes all day every day. I would definitely get tired of them. Yeah, they're like the classic viral videos, like David After Dentist and Charlie Bit My Finger, but I don't know. I guess I'm over those videos. Are you sure? I think there are some wild, dangerous Ukrainian cities right now. I guess so. I guess when you think of like all of Europe, I was just thinking of like Western Europe, I guess. I don't really know how violent it is in Europe, to be honest. I'm just guessing. Pomegranate. I like pomegranate. What about sweet potato fries? I like sweet potato fries, but I like regular potato fries better. Any advice for content creators to deal emotionally with low view counts and worried it might be a continuous downward slide in engagement? I don't know. You have to think about like why does it affect you negatively? I mean, I understand like we want views and it's disappointing when we don't get the views that we want. But like, and it kind of depends also like where you are in your career, in your journey as a creator. Like, are you new to it? Have you been doing it for less than a year, or have you been doing it for 10 years and still getting low view counts? But like, for example, if I were to go and like if I were to go and play like racquetball right now, I would be terrible at it. I would suck. And I would continue to be terrible at it for a long time because I don't know how to do it. And it would be weird of me to be like sad about that, because it's like, what do you expect? Do you expect to be super good at it if you're new to it, or no one's taught you how to do it? So it's like you have to sort of think like you have to like give yourself permission to be bad at something or to fail at something before you succeed at it. But at the same time, you have to commit yourself to learning how to do it better. So your reaction to getting no views or low views, your reaction should be like, okay, the last thing that I did not have the desired result. Let's try something else. Or let's try to alter that and make it better next time. And then you just keep doing that. And if you commit yourself to always doing it a little better every time, I promise you will get views eventually. You can't help it. Just there's no other possible outcome. But I think people have this sort of like this idea that they need to be good at everything when they start doing it. But it's like, no, everybody was bad. I hesitate to tell you all to go watch my old videos, but go watch some of my old videos. They're bad. They're terrible. They're god awful. In fact, I think my current videos are only like okay. I still have so much better, you know, I could be so much better. And I also think that a lot of creators, and this just applies to everything. You know how they say like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing expecting different results. I don't it's weird that it's tied to like insanity, but it's good. It's a good quote because I think a lot of people are like, I'm just going to keep pumping out videos. I'm going to keep doing a video. This video, 0 views. Okay, let's do it again. 0 views. Let's do it again. 0 views. It's like, no, do it different. Try something else. If this idea didn't work, try a different idea. Or if this didn't work, maybe, you know, try to improve your storytelling. Try a better title next time. Keep doing it different until it works. And even when it works, still think about how you can do it better. But you have to be bad before you can be good. And if you don't know what to do to do it better, then you have to research it. You have to ask people. You have to look it up. I promise you, there's plenty of information on the internet about how to succeed as a content creator. You just have to seek it out. And this is, I guess I would be remiss if I didn't plug my own book, because I wrote a book about how to succeed on YouTube. I guess I'll link it in the chat. But you don't need to buy the book. There's so much free information on the internet. Just look up. I don't know if you're a YouTuber specifically. You just said content creator. You didn't say YouTube, but if you literally I tell people to just look up Mr. Beast interviews. I know not everybody is a huge Mr. Beast fan, and I know Mr. Beast is like involved in controversy recently. But one thing is true, and that is that Mr. Beast has figured out how to get views on YouTube more than anyone else. So I tell people literally to go into YouTube and type in Mr. Beast interview and watch everything that comes up. After you watch all that, you will know everything that you need to know in terms of how to get views on YouTube. If your content is a different platform, you'll have to just find something else though. But you know, it's up to you to do the research. Favorite music video? Favorite music video? I don't know. There's a lot of great music videos. That's hard to do. Michael Jackson Thriller is obviously one of the GOATs. I like all of OK Go's videos. They do all those like really cool viral music videos. I don't know. I haven't thought about it really. Why do you think NoFap and anti-porn sentiments have gotten more popular? I don't know exactly. I don't know. There's a lot of like toxic elements of that and misogynist elements of that, but there's also some positive aspects of it as well. So it's hard to say. I'm not really sure. Because I think that, you know, nofap is often associated with like sort of like the men's rights type stuff and the pickup artists and the red pill type stuff. But also porn is a thing that a person can absolutely become addicted to, and that can be a problem. So I fully support anyone that wants to abstain from porn, because it definitely can become a problem. So I don't know. I saw on Reddit you have a YouTube advice service thing on Fiverr. Is that still active? It is. Yes, it is. Not gonna lie, the Mr. Beastification of YouTube has turned me off on how people make content now, but it is what it is. I guess. I mean, there's a lot that you can say about that. I think the Mr. Beastification is people trying to copy Mr. Beast because he's successful, but they're not like copying. They're copying his style, but they're not copying his strategy. And I think that's why everything looks the same. But it's, you know, like, I don't know. People will always try to copy whoever's on top. But there's a reason that Mr. Beast has more views than everyone else. If people were really copying his strategy, then they would have the same views as him, but they don't, because he knows what he's doing and they're just copying. But it really just boils down to make engaging content and have good titles and thumbnails. It's really all it is. People see Mr. Beast and they say, oh, I need to have like explosions, and I need to talk really loud, and I need to cut really fast, and I need to do these crazy stunts. But I don't think that's the lesson to be taken. The lesson to be taken is make engaging content that keeps people's attention, and make impressive and have like good ideas with titles and thumbnails that people find interesting. Like, I think that's the lesson to take. And if you watch Mr. Beast interviews, you'll see like he never says anything like, oh, if you want to succeed on YouTube, you need to scream at the top of your videos, and you need to cut really fast, and you need to have a bunch of explosions and colors and stuff like that. He will never say that, because that's not the strategy. But that's what people take from it, which I suppose is annoying. But I don't know. I feel like the Mr. Beastification is a little bit overblown. I feel like someone said that in a video one time, and now everyone's saying it. Like, I watch plenty of content that is nothing like Mr. Beast. I don't know where this idea that everything is like Mr. Beast now, like, it's definitely not the case. But there's definitely a lot of people that copy him, as there will always be. But people copy anyone who succeeds. You know, there's a lot of really big YouTubers that are nothing like Mr. Beast, but they also get copied as well. Mr. Beast is just the most visible and the biggest. So what's my favorite go-to fast food meal? Fast food meal, I'd say probably either the cheesy gordita crunch from Taco Bell, or the Bacon King from Burger King. Those are usually what I end up getting. I also really like Whataburger, but there's not a Whataburger near me, so I don't eat it that much. But if I'm like really, really craving it, I'll pay like $40 to have it DoorDash to me from across town. But yeah. Who are your favorite early YouTubers who are mainly in the comedy genre? Early YouTubers? You mean like from back in the day? I've never watched a Mr. Beast video. I've only learned of how his videos go via osmosis. I think Mr. Beast, especially more recently, I think he makes excellent videos. And I think a lot of people have a negative impression of him from people talking about it because they've never seen his videos. And I could see if you were talking about his videos from like, you know, 8 to 10 years ago, because they were kind of just these sort of frenetic, like very fast-paced videos that are hard to keep up with. But these days, I think his videos are pretty good. And he's really amped up his storytelling more recently. One of his videos made me cry not too long ago. Like he knows what he's doing. There's a reason that all of his videos go mega viral. I'm not saying everyone is going to enjoy it, but I think if you haven't seen a Mr. Beast video, I think you'll be surprised at how good they are. Burger King hasn't been edible since the 90s. Hard disagree. Back in the day, like started pre-2010. Any comedy YouTubers come to mind? I don't know. It's hard to think of who was even active in 2010. Like I used to watch like Lisa Nova and Dax Flame, people like that back in the day. Especially in terms of comedy. I can't even think of like who was making comedy back then. I don't watch Mr. Beast because I'm not a 9-year-old white boy. Yeah, I think that's a comment from someone that hasn't seen a Mr. Beast video, because you would think that it's like super like weird, crazy children's content, but it really isn't. I think it's definitely made for younger people, but it's definitely not children's content, and it definitely can be appreciated by people who aren't children. But you know, to each his own. Everybody likes what they like. I'm not really here to defend Mr. Beast, but I am here to judge people that judge things without seeing them. I think that's super cringe. If Mr. Beast isn't your speed, I would suggest Ryan Trahan, another massive YouTuber that I really like. He's a good person to study if you're trying to learn how to make videos that go viral. How to make like good videos that go viral. Just like sort of like light entertainment type of content. Which music artist getting canceled took you most by surprise, disappointed you the most? I don't know. I try not to be too invested in celebrities. I was really surprised when Lizzo got canceled, I guess. I didn't expect that to happen, but I wouldn't say that I was disappointed or cared. I was just like, that was a thing. What's your favorite piece of superhero content? Could be a comic, movie, TV show. My favorite piece of superhero content. That's hard. There's a lot of things I can put there. So Marvel Knights Daredevil, that graphic novel or that trade paperback, it's a comic run basically. That's one of my favorite things. The first 6 episodes, I think the first 6 issues were written by Kevin Smith. Very good. The Loki television series is definitely one of my favorite pieces of superhero content. It was amazing. The 90s animated X-Men TV show is probably up there. I haven't seen X-Men 97 yet. I heard it's very good though. I would be surprised if it's as good as the old show, but maybe it is. So those would be candidates. I will say I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stream for about another 10 minutes. It is starting to get late here. Who's your favorite sitcom character? My favorite? I don't know. These are like hard questions. There's so many to choose from. I will say if I made a video about them, they're probably up there. So like Alexis from Schitt's Creek, Elaine from Seinfeld, Janice from Friends, Bernie Mac from The Bernie Mac Show. What's your favorite drip? What do you mean by drip? I encourage people to support the real people on YouTube, social media like this channel, not the multimillionaires who stunt all day because they have enough money to flex. Well, I mean, I encourage people to support me. That kind of talk is, I don't know. It's not really the way I would see it. I remember when I was a small YouTuber and I had people that supported me. And then when I became a bigger YouTuber, some of those people started talking shit about me because I was now a big YouTuber. So I don't like that kind of talk, because what if I become a bigger YouTuber? Are you then going to be one of those people that talk shit about me on other channels? Maybe so. So I don't know. I've kind of been through that sort of thing before. Do you prefer your hair as locks or dreads? Both. I probably say dreads more. Yeah, I figured you meant clothing style, but that's such a broad question. I don't really pay attention to clothes, really. I literally just wear t-shirts and jeans every day. So I guess that's my favorite. T-shirts and jeans. Just plain t-shirts like this and jeans. And sneakers. And the sneakers are almost always Jordan 1s. So that's probably the most specific thing about my wardrobe. Your favorite Dragon Quest game? I've never played any Dragon Quest games, actually. Before the rap beef, I've never watched reaction videos. I've been shocked by how big YouTube is. Are there any parts of YouTube you found and were surprised by? I'm definitely not surprised anymore. I mean, that's one of the cool things about YouTube is you can find anything on there. Like pretty much literally anything. So I don't like if there's something I want to know more about, I pretty much expect it to be on YouTube. I don't think I've ever like wanted to learn about something and I was like, there probably isn't any videos about that. It's just not true. And sometimes I find like really interesting, weird sides of YouTube. Like I used to watch this like stone tumbling? Is that what it's called? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, stone tumbling. Rock tumbling. Yeah, rock tumbling. That's like a whole community on YouTube that I had no idea. I didn't even know that that was a thing people did until I randomly stumbled upon it on YouTube. Which is more important in a D&D character, AC or HP? More important? I don't think either any. It depends on what's important to you. Like, it depends on what the situation is, what kind of enemies you're doing, or what you care about, you know? In terms of like what will keep you alive the longest, I would say probably HP. You listen to the Beatles, you know John Lennon was a wife beater. Only people online say that. No one reason acts like that in real life, really. I don't know. I think everyone gets to choose. I feel like everyone choose how you live your life and what you interact with and what you engage with. As long as you don't give other people shit for liking things, then that's fine. Which country would you like to travel to the most? There's so many countries that I want to travel to. I would say probably on the top of the list right now are Sweden and New Zealand. But I want to travel everywhere. I want to visit everywhere. Have you watched the show Everybody Hates Chris? Yes. If so, how do you feel about the animated reboot? I actually watched the first episode of the animated reboot. I think it's online on YouTube. Well, it was on YouTube. Presumably it still is. But yeah, literally the animated show is the same show except animated. It literally picks up where the live action show left off, like directly after it left off. And it's exactly the same, so it's good because I liked Everybody Hates Chris, so, and it's the same show, so. We'll see if it remains like that as it goes on, but that's how it started off, at least. Does it feel like the original show so far, or its own thing? It feels the same. I mean, it's animated, so it's obviously a different experience. but it's the same like vibe. The humor is the same. I will say that many of the voice actors are different, including the main character, so that's a little bit awkward. But you get used to it. But I think, like, for example, the mom and the dad, I think, are voiced by the same people. Maybe the brother and sister, I'm not really sure. But Chris himself is voiced by a different person. Which was, I think, was necessary, because that dude is a like full-grown man now with a pretty deep voice. It probably wouldn't fit. But yeah, I feel like this, I don't know if it has the same writers, but the humor feels the same, like the timing and stuff of the jokes is about the same. If I can get an animated series of any live action show, what would you pick? I don't know. I saw an artist recently do a mock-up of an animated version of Living Single, and it made me want it to exist because the art was really cool. So I'll say that for now. What's one common internet word / phrase that really irks you for no real reason? Internet word or phrase? I don't know about internet phrases. I don't know, like I was thinking recently about, you know, as an elder millennial, I was thinking about like Gen Z slang and how some of it I like and some of it I don't like. So like, for example, I don't know, like Gen Z, I don't know if they invented it, but like, for example, Gen Z will say like, that's a L take, or that's a W take, or W mom. I like that. That's cool to me. But like Riz, for example, Riz is cringe. I don't like that word at all. So there's like certain things that they say that I think is cool and other things that I don't think is cool. If you made a decent amount online and decided to move to Mexico or any country where the local currency is weaker to that of the US, would you feel like you would be contributing to gentrification? I have no idea. I would have to see that in practice. I don't even know how that would work. I can show y'all the art. Hold on. Yeah, this was the art that I saw. Artist Morgan Bissant. Check her out. Good artist. But yeah, I saw this and I was like, I want this to be a thing. This is so good. Skibbity, what the Sigma? I don't even, Skibbity is just beyond, that just makes me feel old. I have no idea what's going on there. What about using Gucci as a stand-in for good? I mean, that's cool, but that's definitely not Gen Z. We've been doing that for a while. That might even be a Gen X thing. I feel like E40 was saying that way back in the day. Sending gratitude from a Taoist monastery near Seattle. Wow. Thanks for stopping in. When you're a lifetime online millennial, I think it's hard to tell what is Gen Z slang and what is millennial online slang that just broke through. Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely like overlap. There's probably things that Gen Z will take credit for that existed before them, and there's things that millennials would take credit for that Gen X has been saying. And then sometimes things come back in style that kind of been around for a while. Like, I remember people started saying fam. And I was like, yo, people have been saying fam since the 80s probably. Or like, I remember when twerk got really popular. People were talking about twerking. And I had to remind all my white friends, it's like, bro, we've been saying twerk in the black community since the early 90s. Maybe not the early 90s, but like the late 90s, early 2000s for sure. So stuff like that. Do I have any memes I like at the moment? Sure. I'm a fan of memes. I don't know if I can just point to one. I mean, I look at memes all day, every day. There's dozens of memes. I wonder if anyone has done studies on how many memes the average person sees per day. It's got to be like in the dozens to hundreds, right? I found you through your Elaine video. I like you. Thank you. That video did pretty well. A lot of people seem to enjoy it. So I appreciate that. But I do think it's probably a good time to go ahead and end the stream. It's about 11 p.m. here, getting late. So I appreciate everybody for stopping by and hanging out with me for a little while. I should have another video coming out on the channel before the month is over. Hopefully before the month is over. We'll see. Sorry to those that just popped in, but I should stream again. I'll try to stream again soon. I still don't have a schedule for my stream, but one day it will be more consistent. Anyway, if you like chill chats like this, I do want to plug my Discord server. It's free. You can come and hang out with me and other members of the community and just chill and have like friendly conversations. I'll leave a link to it in the chat. Does this thing still work? So yeah, that just wanted to plug that. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.